I went to the newest Louis Vuitton Café in the world during my one-day trip to Seoul. It feels like every single fashion house woke up one day and was like, let's start a cafe. Because there's a Dior cafe, Prada cafe, Hermes, Chanel. Louis Vuitton alone has over 10 of these cafes all around the world, and Seoul just joined their list. I had to go in person to answer the question myself. Can't these designer brands actually make a cafe that serves real quality food and drinks, or are we just paying for aesthetics? Let's get into it. I've already seen photos of the space online, but it does not prepare you for how stunning it looks in person. The space is broken up into two distinct areas. So when you first walk in, it's gonna be that cozy library vibes, right? Books everywhere, dimmer lighting, warmer colors. And I read an article online that all of these books were handpicked by the head chef who works there. As you go further into the space where I ended up sitting is more of a open terrace greenhouse vibes with a bunch of natural lighting just floating in from all of these tall windows that they had. This is where I actually preferred to sit because I wanted better lighting for all the videos and pictures that I was gonna take. And I just felt like for a group we were gonna talk more, so I just kind of wanted to be in a more open area. As an LV enthusiast, there were so many little details at our table that I really enjoyed looking at. Everything was branded, from the napkins, the silverware, the plates, the cups. It was like a little scavenger hunt to find the little LV logos. So whether you end up sitting at the cozy library area or the greenhouse outdoor area, both places feel equally sophisticated, and I'm sure that you'll have a great time either way. Going back to my first question, is the ambiance worth the hype? Yes, it is. The space is gorgeous, stunning, elevated, truly something that you can't get anywhere else. But do the food and the drinks taste as good as this place looks? Let's start off with the drinks. The server that we had was so kind. I think he could tell that this logo was really important to me, so he was really reassuring that whether I get hot or iced, there was gonna be some form of LV art on it, and that made me feel a lot better and a lot more confident about, spending $20 on a latte. A couple years ago, I was only a few stores down from here at the Dior Café. I saw that they had a viral Dior cappuccino, and I really wanted to get that. I go into the store hoping and praying that they might do it on iced lattes, and they don't. So I was forced to get this cappuccino that I didn't really want. So that was my biggest worry coming into the LV Cafe, is that, oh my God, am I gonna have to order another cappuccino I don't want just to make sure I get a pretty picture? I did not have to compromise this time around. I came in a group of 4, so obviously we had to order 4 lattes, 1 cappuccino, 3 iced lattes. And what was really surprising was that every single latte art was different. I will say though that the cappuccino with the cute little LV mascot, the little Vivienne person, was the best one. The foam just looked really neat, and it was more intricate than the ones on the iced drink. So I will say the cappuccino had that edge, but I still really appreciated how every single latte had a different art on it. These lattes definitely passed the visual test, but now, did it pass the taste test? I got the iced hazelnut latte, and I actually really liked it. It didn't taste artificial at all. The hazelnut tasted real. This was the perfect amount of sugar, perfectly balanced. So yeah, the drinks were a huge success for me. They were beautiful and they tasted good. Now we're gonna jump into food. Honestly, the food section of this experience is the part that I was most skeptical about, because on social media, all you see are the beautiful drinks, beautiful pastries, and no one really talks about the food. So the question running through my mind at this point was, can a luxury brand actually make a good meal? So we ordered both lunch options to really test out this place. First up was their club sandwich. So your standard turkey, bacon, lettuce, tomato. Seemed pretty standard, so my expectations weren't that high. When the sandwich arrived, the only thing that I could think of was, wow, this is a great example of the word branded. The LV monogram was toasted directly on the bread. Even the way that the sandwich was plated was into an LV flower. This was particularly easy to share because 2 petals per person. Beautiful. Look good. The bread was actually really buttery, perfectly toasted. There was a nice little crunch to it. The ingredients seemed really fresh. It was a good sandwich objectively. Next up was the crispy chicken with gochujang and porcini sauce. It's very crispy. I don't know if you can hear the scraping, but the chicken was super crispy and piping hot when I bit into it. I really enjoyed how the plum gochujang had like a tangy taste, and then you mixed it with the earthy flavors of the mushroom, and it worked really well, surprisingly. As far as the food goes, I was pleasantly surprised that it actually tasted good. Like, I would order a couple more rounds of that if they weren't so pricey. And now, the moment that I've been waiting for since I had booked this reservation, it is the desserts. Before we ordered our desserts, our server actually recommended that we go to the front, to the pastry display, to kind of eat with our eyes before we decide. Every single dessert is showcased under a glass dome, and it really gave the vibe that I was at a museum and I was looking at these art sculptures. I was thinking to myself, If the chefs put this much time and effort into just displaying the cakes, it would have to taste good, right? When they placed the cakes on the table, we were just kind of staring at them for the first couple of minutes because they were literally works of art. Cake number 1 was a tiramisu. We wanted to see if they could just do, a good traditional tiramisu. In terms of visuals, I have never seen a more intricate tiramisu cake ever. It was a perfect circular shape with a matte finish. There's a LV flower etched into the chocolate. On the side, you can read the full Louis Vuitton name. When we cut into the cake, it exposed the beautiful layers of the espresso sponge, the mascarpone cream, and of course the crunchy base that, put the tiramisu all together. Really loved how the espresso flavor really shined through. It still felt very balanced, and it was also not too sweet, which is great. The Louis Vuitton tiramisu definitely takes the cake for the most elevated tiramisu that I've ever had in my entire life. Next up is the Louis Vuitton chocolate monogram cake. If you wanted a cake that was perfectly branded all over, this one's for you because the LV logo monogram was all over the cake with a perfectly dusted cocoa on top, and it just screams Louis Vuitton. In terms of presentation, I knew that this one would be a showstopper, but I was thinking to myself, how much more can you do with a chocolate cake? And this one actually really surprised me. The chocolate was just different. It was so rich and smooth, and there's a hint of nuttiness from the cacao nib that I just can't place where I tasted that from. I was really surprised by how deep the flavor was, but it wasn't too sweet. You would think that something that was all chocolate would be overwhelming and heavy, but it was very light and fluffy, and I can totally see why this is a fan favorite. And last but certainly not least is the Korean pear charlotte. This cake is exclusive to the Seoul location, and you can only get it here, so I had to try it. The soft white outer layer had tiny LV embossing all around like a cute little picket fence, and on top there were these glossy pear spheres with delicate flowers. Inside were layers of Korean pear compote, almond vanilla biscuit. The cake was light, it was fresh, it was well balanced, and I think it's a really good homage to the country that this cafe is in, right? It blends French technique with some Korean flavors, so I think that this is a really great way to finish a meal. When we finished, we unveiled our rankings to one another, and guess what? The rankings were all over the place. We could not decide which one was the best cake, and that tells me all I need to know. That means that the cakes are all delicious. We just couldn't pick. For me personally, these are the awards that I would give out. Most balanced was the tiramisu, most beautiful was a Korean pear charlotte, and the best taste overall was a chocolate monogram. And now I can finally answer the question of, is Le Café Louis Vuitton in Seoul worth it? For 4 people, we spent around $160, and that was for 4 lattes, 2 entrees, and 3 dessert cakes. So it was about $40 a person. Now, is that expensive for a cafe? Absolutely. But if you're looking for a luxury designer cafe type of experience, I think that's honestly pretty fair, especially because most of the drinks and the food were all really good. I think that this experience is totally worth it if you are someone who loves design-driven experiences, you want something a little bit more luxurious, you're a fan of the Louis Vuitton brand, you're really gonna appreciate all the thought and design that went into this place. The LV Seoul Cafe location specifically gets an extra point because getting reservations is actually not that hard. Literally a week ago, I was fighting for my life trying to get a Louis Vuitton Cafe reservation in New York City, and things just disappear in a matter of seconds. Subscribe now so that you can get a notification when I post that Louis Vuitton New York City video in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Guys, I cannot believe I'm reporting from the 91st floor of the Signal Hotel in Lotte Tower in Seoul, South Korea. This is insane. This is just a 24-hour trip. We're actually gonna go fly back to Japan to go finish off our Asia trip, but we decided to come here to celebrate